today we're back inside of Luminar Neo because I'm having a lot of fun just playing around in the software. And I think that it's a great tool for editing images, both professionally and creative personal photos. Now, this is another photo from the Cherry Festival or Cherry Blossom Festival in Washington, D.C. And I thought I had this person in focus. I actually did not. My focus is actually somewhere back over here, but that's okay because I really like the feel of this photo. So we're going to go ahead and edit it as is, probably get rid of these people in the water because they don't really add anything of interest to me. But what I do enjoy is seeing the large crowds of people with the cherry blossoms all over in the image. So we'll probably try to draw some of the color out of those. And then, of course, this gentleman's shirt, and it's cool because he's a photographer, but this gentleman's shirt is the same color or relatively the same color as the cherry blossoms. So he's kind of matching with the overall color scheme. So let's go ahead and jump into, let's start with a preset. I used the easy landscapes previously, but this time, let's see which ones I think. Let's go. And I have no script, by the way. If you haven't noticed with these Luminar Neo videos, I have no script. And I actually enjoy editing this way because this is what I do when I sit down at my computer. Let's go with waterscapes. There's some water in this photo. So whenever I sit down at my computer, I usually have a rough idea. I know what I like about the image, but how I plan to edit it, I'm not entirely sure. So let's see what these presets look like. Deadly Reef, that does not look very cherry blossom fun. This is actually kind of cool in black and white, but I don't want to go that direction today. We're going to keep some color. This is a little darker than I would like it to be, but I do like what it's doing with the colors. And this is the beauty of working with presets. You can look at the preset, see what you like about the preset, and then go and get rid of those things that just aren't working for you. All right. So we might actually go and do that because I'm not a fan of deep focus. The soft fix is okay, but it's a little too warm for my taste. I want this to be bright, cool, and pink. All right. So we're going to go ahead and select the dark and rich one. We're going to apply that to the image. It's there. We're going to click on edit now. And we're going to have some fun with recovering some of the brightness in the image because the original, look at how bright that is. And this one, not so much. All right. So I know that the color harmony, I want to leave that alone. I imagine the luminance issue that we're having is probably happening. It's probably not happening in the accent AI. So let's check develop here. And let's see if there's anything. Okay, so we got some negative. Oh, okay. So the curves, you can see how this curve is pulled down. It's pulling down from the highlights and in the shadows. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and double click, get rid of that. And look at that. Brings back all of our luminance. Probably not exactly what I want to do. Is there work happening in some of these channels? Yeah, it looks like there's a little bit of work happening there, but I'm not going to worry about that. Okay, so we'll go ahead and let's just pull down on the highlights a bit, just a little bit, and hopefully that'll recover. Yeah, that's recovering some detail in the sky. Look at that. Boom. Highlights, recovering detail in the sky. I think that that's awesome. So we'll recover a little bit of detail in the sky. We're not going to go crazy with it because I'm not overly concerned about the sky, but it does look pretty good. Okay, so now that we have that going, let's go ahead and pull down, or let's figure out how we can keep that same brightness. So yeah, we'll do an S-curve, like what we probably should have had on here. Boom, S-curve. Now, it's not like a huge shift from the brightness of the original image to where we are now. and I still have that color. I'm retaining it, and I really do enjoy that. But I think there may have been a little bit of, yeah, we're pulling the blacks down. Let's push the whites back up. All right. I don't think we need the blacks to be pulled down. And then maybe, just maybe, we'll pull down on the highlights a little bit more. I know I said I don't really care about the sky there, but I feel like there's a lot of detail that could be in that sky. Look at that. Look at all that detail in the sky. We got to get that back, or at least some of it. So we're going to do some local adjustments. All right. No worries. We're going to get there. Okay. So now that we have this kind of developed the way that we, or at least that I think it should be, we're going to go ahead and jump back into the full edit, and we're going to start bringing back the detail in the sky, because I think that that's an obvious thing that needs to be worked on. So let's just go ahead and pull down on this exposure, and then I'm going to take my masking, and I'm going to see if we can mask the sky based off of luminosity. I don't think that it's going to give us enough precision, so I may end up having to brush it, but we're going to try it anyway, because sometimes you never know until you try. So we're going to definitely pull it out of the shadows. I'm going to try and get it into the sky, something like that. That doesn't look bad. And then we'll pull this. Oh, and maybe we won't transition it that far. And nope, because I want those clouds to be covered. So that's not going to work. All right, no worries. We're going to come back here, and we are going to clear the mask, and then I'm just going to go with the brush, because there's nothing wrong with using the brush. All right. The AI tools and the more manual tools, they're helpful, but a good old brush can get you so far. All right. Now, I'm going to probably paint this a little bit more sloppy than I would like it to be, but that's all right. We're just going to paint into these areas, and we'll see how this works out. And that does not look very lovely. So, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and ditch that idea. And that is life. Sometimes you want to do something, and then you realize that ditching the idea is probably for the better. So next thing that I want to do, get rid of these people in the boats. So go ahead and grab my eraser, paint over this group of people right here. And I'm going to do these one at a time, because if it introduces something that I don't like, I want to be able to clean that up. All right. And the whole goal here is really to focus on the large crowds of people, as well as the cherry blossoms and, you know, our star of the show over here, which is the gentleman with the camera. He's not really the star of the show. All right. But that's okay. We're going to go ahead and paint these people away just like that. And this is easy work for the eraser brush. I actually did not expect, or don't expect, this to cause any challenges for the eraser brush. Okay, so that's taken care of. And, you know, we'll get rid of these weird looking things that are hanging down that are just distractions. So again, I do these one at a time, because if Luminar decides to give me something that I don't care for, I just want to be able to adjust for it and not have to do the whole thing. All right. That's the only reason why I do these individually. You could paint over one area, erase it, and then go on about your day, but it doesn't always work. Although in this situation, I will paint those two together. So now I've gotten rid of some of the distractions that were hanging down. In fact, this branch right here could probably go. So let's get rid of that. Perfect. And I'm going to get rid of these cranes, because if you've ever been to Washington, D.C., there are a lot of cranes, and they're just eyesores in photos, at least. I get it. They probably serve a purpose for what they do. but I don't want it in my photo. So let's just get rid of it. All right. And I'll get rid of this part over here as well. That looks like a kite, so I'm going to leave it because that kind of adds to the story, or is part of the story. And I'm going to get rid of this little piece right here as well. So kind of nitpicking it. And for a YouTube video, probably way more than what I need to do. But I just want to kind of show you my workflow and my thought process, because that's part of the beauty of editing, is everyone has different workflows and thought processes. And I just want to share mine with you. So getting rid of that little twig. All right. That's enough for this cleanup on the image overall. And I really do like what's happening here. Now, this water is not very interesting, so let's see if we can blur it. All right, so I'm going to come up here, and I think it's under Creative, Blur, and we're going to leave it on Gaussian Blur. We'll just pull that up, or actually, let's make a mask first. So I'm going to try to use the object mask, and yeah, it does a pretty good job at selecting the water there. What about in, oh, that's selecting way more than what I wanted to. So we'll let that be what it is. And then I'm going to grab a brush, and we'll go ahead and turn on the mask, so that way I know where to start brushing. All right. So we'll open this, hit show on the mask, come back to our brush. So that way I'm seeing where I'm painting, and I'm probably going to end up painting over some of those cherry blossoms. And that's unfortunate, because I think that they add a lot of character and interest to what's happening with this water. But, you know, this is life. All right. This is life. So we're going to go something like this, and I'll call that good. It's probably not going to work out exactly how I planned in my head, but that's okay, because things don't always work out the way that we plan them to. Then I'm just going to go ahead and pull up on the blur here, and that looks amazing. Nah, that doesn't look that good at all. So let's try motion blur. There we go. Motion blur looks really nice. All right. Again, this is how you go trial and error. You have some fun with your images. All right. And let's see, what angle do I want this water to? That doesn't look natural at all. That doesn't look natural either. So we'll probably go something like that, and I'll pull down on the blur just a bit. And then I'll probably need to go and grab this mask. We'll copy it. I'm going to come back up here to Essentials, go to Develop, and I'm going to paste the mask, and then I'm going to just lower that exposure, because I don't think this should be that bright. And this looks okay. Maybe it's too much of a negative exposure. I don't know. You let me know what you think in the comment section below. All right, let's turn our attention to these cherry blossoms and this person over here. So first thing that I need to do, though, is get rid of these people, or at least darken them, right? Bring less attention to them. So I'm just going to pull down exposure until I see that they look about where they need to be. And that looks pretty good to me. We're going to come to masking. I'm going to grab a linear gradient. I'm just going to click and drag that up. And I may need to move the linear gradient out just a little bit more, redraw it there. And yeah, I think that works out. So we'll erase it from our friend here, though, because I want him to be brighter. And who knows, maybe I need to paint in over this person to darken that down just a bit more. Maybe like that. Yeah, I think that works out. Okay. And in fact, now that I'm looking at this, I'm going to go ahead and grab another. We'll pull down different exposure. We'll go back to masking. We'll grab the linear gradient. And then I am going to pull a linear gradient down over the top here like that. Maybe spread it out a little bit further and back it off. We'll do something like this. Yeah. Let's see how that looks. Okay. So now we're starting to get a line of light that's coming through here and really helping to accentuate this person. But I'm losing some of the brightness on the cherry blossoms that are here. So I need to come back to my masking and I want to show the mask, grab a brush, erase from these cherry blossoms because I don't want those to get impacted. All right. Lots of back and forth. This is just photo editing, you know, the life of photo editing. And then I'll do the same with getting rid of some of the negative exposure that's happening through here. Hopefully that's going to look all right. We'll see. We will see. All right. So now we'll go back here. Let's unshow the mask. And that's looking okay. I could live with that. Maybe a little too much of a negative exposure because I just kind of want to pull it down. All right. And now our out of focus blurry photographer here, the irony of that, right? A photographer that is not in focus. Very, very interesting. Let's see where we are. Okay, so this is the before and this is the after. We've done a lot to this image. So now I think it's time to really try and add a tone or a color to it. And that's where mood comes in. So we're going to go ahead and hit that real quick and just minimize some of these things. We'll go with mood. And let's grab a LUT. And we'll just kind of cycle through some of these. This one isn't too bad. Again, I'm just experimenting, having fun. Santa Barbara seems kind of fun. So let's go with that. And then let's crank it up quite a bit to give this a lot of color. And then turn it off, turn it back on. And, you know, that's doing its thing. Maybe we'll give this a vignette because why not? So we'll go essentials, vignette, pull down on the amount. And again, it's just helping brighten this area up. Maybe do something like so. And then we're going to do an inner light. That's way too much. Maybe just a very small inner light. And that's kind of fun. All right. Now let's go back to creative or landscape. And we're going to add landscape. And then we'll add in some warmth with golden hour. And I think that looks pretty good. So I think, you know, I'm not entirely sure if this is a flop or a win. I don't know another way of saying that, but I do enjoy what I have here. Is this like some award-winning photography? Absolutely not. In fact, this could probably stand to use a crop. So let's go ahead and crop this in. What crop dimension do I want to go with today? I've been experimenting a lot with 4x5, but you know what? I feel like this could be cinematic. So let's go with a 16:9. Yeah, 16:9. It just kind of helps with telling the story. And I'll just pull this in a little bit and maybe do something like this. I think that will work out quite well. So let's hit apply and let's see how this, it looks different. Definitely could be film. You know what? Where is film grain at? I think that's under creative and then film grain. And we'll just throw in a lot of it. Yeah, you know what? You throw some film grain on it and look, artistic, super cool. I'm kidding. I mean, it does look cool. I do enjoy this look, and I enjoy it with the film grain. So this is with film grain and this is without it. And with it, it looks really cool. And I guess, again, I'm experimenting. So I'm going to go up here and we're going to add a layer. Let's add one of these light leaks. Let's add this light leak. Yeah, and now it just looks like this old film looking thing. So I'll pull down on the opacity of the light leak because I think it is a tad bit strong, but we can go something like that. And, it's creative. It's fun. I think it's cool. So you let me know what you think about this edit in the comment section below. If you found value in the video, please smash the like button. Or if you just found it entertaining while I rambled on and experimented with a photo. If you got questions, leave it in the comment section below. I'll do my best to answer that. Now, if you want to pick up a copy of Luminar Neo or just shop on the Luminar store and save a little bit of money in the process, consider using my coupon code that's going to be down in the description box below, as well as popping up on the screen now. I do make a small commission from everyone who uses that code, but it's at no extra charge to you, and it just helps me continue to pour into the channel, making videos similar to this. Until next time, I want you to stay inspired and keep creating. Peace.